Hello, it's Shirzad. I'm back after 1 year for a tutorial about faking the simulation and physics of a car in Max. I will try to use only Max tools without any script. Maybe in the future we will have another tutorial in advance for writing physics in Max script, which would be great because we can have much more control over it. But this one will be simple, fast, and well, the results are okay. So let's see the results first. You can change the springs effects, the feeling of the car and everything. And if I add this point here, you can change them. Like this, both of them together. Like this. And you can change everything. Okay, let's start. First thing I want to show you is that I have a layer for the mesh itself and another layer for the rig. It's gonna be the helpers and connections, constraints, and stuff like this will be under this layer. And another important thing here is that if you select one of these objects, you will see here they are all aligned toward in the direction. If you check all of them, you will see they have same Z, X, and Y direction here. So it's a weird way of saying X, Y, Z. Okay, I'll enable this layer and let's start by creating some points. These points I can make them like a box. 60 might be enough for it. Yeah. And make sure you don't use orientation. They have the same orientation, but be careful. Sometimes I need the orientation, sometimes it's just about the position, so be careful about that. Okay, we can name them now. If I select these two together, it will be this one and this point. So let's add a PT for point and add the rest of the naming from the wheel to the point itself. PT underline and this. Okay, now let's create again some points, this time with different display methods. This could be really small, 6 will be enough. And do the same, align them in the center of the new point or the wheel themselves because they have the same position and orientation. Now I can hide the mesh layer and do the naming again. I can name them suspension points or again PT and the rest as we had before. right front this way. I'll just copy this and use it for other parts too. Okay, now we need 2 more points. Actually, we use a lots of points now. This time axis will be better because I want to see the direction, so not so big but something that you can see. And copy that for here, name this again PT front chassis or chassis. How can I pronounce that? I don't know. And the same this time for back, PT back chassis. Now I'll select this one, go to animation, constraints, and open this or detach this one. Use position constraint between this point and add another target, this one. Do the same here, position constraint here, add a target here. Now if I change this, it's not linked. Link them to the points, bigger points with box displays, and now we have this effect, which is good. Now I need to do one more thing with them. Use look at constraint and select this one again. Make sure the orientation doesn't change. We have X, Y, and Z here. Do the same for this one. Look at constraint and here. And now if I check, I have this behavior, which is what I want. And now let's create another point. This time again box, and make it a little bit bigger, like 12, 16, 28. Use position constraint between this one and add another target and assign this one like this. Good. And another point, actually make 2 more. This one 26, this one 24. Good. Select this one, position constrained to the center node. I forgot to name them, we will do that later. And use look at constraint like this. But I want to make sure that it's looking in the same direction as our pivots. As you see, we have Z pointing this direction. It's exactly like this axis here. So if I select that, it's not like what I want. So, and that could mess up the rig. I'll try to change that. Yeah, now it's exactly what I want. Okay, and if you see this part, this one will follow this direction. I want something to follow this direction too, like this. So this one will be this smaller point here. So let's use orientation constraint, and at this one we don't need initial offset. Add another target and add this one. Now if I do this, you can see this one follows this direction, and if I move up this part, this one will follow that. So if we blend these two shapes, we can have a actually we can mimic the behavior of the car body by moving these individual wheels. So let's first use position constraint to link it here, actually constraint it there, and make the last point. Oh, it's not the last point but for the body it is. This one you can use whatever you want, but I recommend you to use something like this so you can see the directions. Let's use orientation constraint from this and add this one as a target. Now if we change any wheel here, you can see this one does have the behavior of both, actually a mix of them. So it's good to make the car body follow this to position constraint and constraint this one to this too. So let's see if it actually behaves okay. First I'll use this one, the body, and this to link it. And then the wheels. Must be linked to the bigger points, actually the point we named point left front wheel. Like this. Okay, if I unhide the body and change it, you can see we have the behavior we want. It's pretty cool. It doesn't have that springy effect we want yet, but we will make that in a few minutes. But first let's hide the body and turn on snap, put it on pivot, and create a simple plane here. Go to the options, use the lowest possible segments, and that should be enough. Let's move it in the direction of Z to 0. Okay, that's okay. Let's create a few more points. This time again, these small, not again. Use these small points and put them roughly around the edges, like this. Now select them, use attachment constraint, and attach it to this plane. And if you go to the parameters, you can use this one in the interface to find where it should be, but you also can set position and drag it here. And if you check these two numbers, A and B, they will get closer to 1 or 0 when you are at the corner of a polygon or of a triangle actually. So when you are close enough like this that you can understand this one is going to be 1 and this one is going to be 0, this should be enough. You don't have to exactly put it there. Maybe snap works, I'm not sure. Let's try that. It seems it's not working. So let's go with the first method. Put 1 here and put 0 here. This will put it exactly at the corner here. Do the same attachment, move it to here. Now I know this one gonna be 0 and this one gonna be 0 too. You may have 0 and 0. Attachment, put it close, 1 0 and 1 last time. Set position here, 0 and 0 again. Okay, now they will follow this plane and we can link. If I hide this one, we can link these to those small points. You can go one more step and use a circle here. Let's do that. At least we have a better rig. I know we made lots of points and shapes, but it's rig. We have to. Okay. And now let's link. Let's first choose a better color for them. They're not visible at all. Okay. Now link these to the shapes we made. I'll rename them, don't worry. Exactly the opposite. So this one should be linked to this, and this one to the smallest. This way, if I want to have my motion on the ground, we have that, but if I want to add more motion, we can do it with this controller. So let's do that. Okay, we're pretty close to finalizing this rig, but before that, let's have a train. I will make another layer here and we'll name it ground. I use a simple plane. I'll put it 0 0 0 in the origin and actually negative, not 50, but something like this, because we will project this plane into the new plane, the ground plane. Let's add more segments. We will need this here. If it's 400, let's make 200 segments. If it's 200, let's make 100 segments. Okay, it's too much, but that's fine. Let's just change the color to something like this. And now I need conform. Okay, the shape is going to be the ground you want to attach your car to, and you can use this to link the plane to the conform. Okay, now if you change this, you will notice that it will follow this ground, not when you are higher than the original pose, the original position of your car. That's why I try to have it lower than 0. And now we can add a noise. Change the parameters, fractal maybe, or even add different type of noise and waves. Let's time we will have a better understanding of the behavior of our car. I think we're done. I just need one more thing here, and that's to add spring behavior to these controllers. So let's isolate them, go to control, actually it's called motion path, motion tab, yeah, go to position, add spring. And to see the behavior of a spring, we will have to have one more of these. Let's add the keyframe and add the motion like this, and then we can move it back. Yeah. I'll change the range to 20. Now we can see the behavior of it really clearly. So if I unhide the mesh, we can see the behavior of it. It's pretty cool. I think the default parameters are enough for now actually. So let's just not change anything and hide this one if you don't want to enable it and assign this controller again for 3 more times. And if you have the, different parameters for them, you can just copy that and paste it. Like this. I'll remove these keyframes. Let's unhide everything. And if I change this one, you can see our car will follow the path. So it's a little small. I want more bigger waves to see the best result here. And we have to animate it, because spring don't have effect in real time. We have to play the animation to see the results. So let's add 160 frames maybe, and move this plane from here. It will take time, and it's not crashing, don't worry. It will take time because it's simulating the springs. So because it's simulating, we have one more, actually we have a trick to do this one. I'll show you when my max is alive. To avoid this stuff, we can go to frame 0. Oh, it's still simulating, okay. Yeah, we can go to frame 0, check this value, go to latest frame and put that with a negative sign here. And we will wait again. Okay. Now let's have this ground enabled and disable all the rig stuff. Let's put this one in the rig too. And these shapes, actually, these are a part of the rig. And if I play it, we will have this effect, which is not really obvious because of small, actually slow animation. If we do this one, yeah, it's more obvious now. You can go even lower to make it faster, and also maybe bigger waves, smaller distances like this. If we simulate it once, we can play it easily like this. That's too much noise. Yes, that's too much. But at least you can see the effects. If you want to have dampening, more dampening, so it feel more heavy, you can go to the spring setup and change it there. Spring controller. Let me just reduce those values. But this is it.